Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the January 21st Raw Review. Now I wish to say ahead of time, if you hear a strange noise in the background, unfortunately it is very cold in my apartment and I have to put my space heater on. So I hope you understand about the inconvenience, but let's get to this review. Now, I wish to say that this Raw was, one, obviously it's a go-home show, one of the two, and it was effective, but just certain things just didn't feel right. Now, I'm going to get to the things I didn't like right now off the bat. First thing, we got 3MB, which was Heath Slater, going up against Ryback, which made no damn sense. It didn't hype him up and made him any better. It didn't. I was completely bored, stupid with it. And then I wish to say this clearly. Get Ryback a mouthpiece, because he's, if anyone else is alright with Ryback talking, okay, cool, I understand that. But Ryback's original character was not meant to talk more than feed me more. And I'm not feeling it with him. He just doesn't have the feeling of a good personality talking yet. And I really feel he needs a mouthpiece. He should not be talking. At least until he gets some more practice. He hasn't had no practice. It would have been better if he was stuck in OVW to get some practice to talk, because he is not talking the way I like. Anyone else, if you like how he's talking, leave me a comment below. Tell me, just notice something he's saying or something. I mean, the feed me more chance is fine, but I just don't feel it. The next match I really didn't care for, which made no damn sense, but did have a good side effect, was the Zack Ryder and Big Show match. It wasn't Zack Ryder getting his ass knocked the hell out by Big Show. It wasn't Big Show just putting his foot on him and just counting to 10. It was the Beef Mode Brad Maddox. The second time during the night, we got Brad Maddox being seen. And I said this at least a month ago, that the perfect person to work with Brad Maddox and his mouthpiece would be Paul Heyman. Early in that night, Paul Heyman and him shook hands, and I agree with the Sleg Daddy that it felt like the Mega Powers. Oh yeah! Seeing the madness and the media coming together. That's how it felt for me. Not to the fact that these two were epic and I jizzed over myself. No. The point is that you have a very good talker in Paul Heyman who can get a person over. But the thing right now with Paul E. Dangerously, is that he's with someone who really doesn't need him. I said a month ago that eventually Paul and Punk are going to go separate ways eventually. It's going to happen. Paul is really not needed with Punk. We're going to see Paulie and Punk break off. And I want to see Paulie work with someone that really needs the rub and who has great potential. Brad Maddox, every time he comes on the show, is doing great. People really like him. I admit at first I wasn't even fond of the damn guy because he wasn't given prominent time and his clothes were too damn tight. But now I've had a chance to really soak him in, and he does have a personality that I could get behind. He may not have all the skills in the ring because we really haven't seen how good he is in the ring yet. He hasn't been allowed to do anything but job. But it does not mean he doesn't have potential. I do feel he has potential. So putting these two together and having the Mega Powers moment is a good thing. And it makes me happy. I'm glad to see it. Now, since we're talking about Paulie, seeing Paulie several times during the night, Vicky and Paulie together, they're kind of not really like an odd couple. I wouldn't want to see those two in bed. I wouldn't mind seeing Vicky naked in bed, but that's for another show entirely. But anyway, if you put this segment together with The Rock and his first segment of the night, because he did 3, it was not bad. I enjoyed The Rock's segment with the police. I did. Seeing that Vicky banned him because she got insulted by The Rock was not bad. I was not upset about that. It makes sense because you got to keep the storyline going. The Rock insulted her ass pretty well, and she's nothing but a bitch that's ugly that just is not going to get any better in that night. I know it doesn't sound anything like The Rock, but it's not the point. The point is that The Rock did a decent job in his Rock concert last week. But let's be honest about something, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest. Seeing The Rock later that night, after Punk had his moment, now I'll talk about Punk after this. The Rock segment, the second segment with the police again and getting the ticket to get inside of the arena and having Vicky there wasn't bad either. It wasn't great. But I felt that using Martin Luther King's birthday, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, who doesn't love Mr. King, Martin Luther King? Hell, when I was a kid back in the late 70s, I got suspended from school twice. No, once. My mistake. The second time was because I got almost killed somebody. not really killed somebody, but that's for another story entirely. But I got suspended from school because I did not go to school on Martin Luther King's birthday. But that was before it became a holiday, back in the late 70s. I was proud not to go because I felt it was the right thing to do. I'm not saying it wasn't the right thing to do for the WWE to let or to allow Mr. Johnson to do I Love a Dream. My dream, my brothers and sisters, and I'll take you to church today. And I'm not Christian, but I can still take you to church. My brothers and sisters, always remember that we fight for our freedom every day. It don't matter if you're black, white. It makes no difference. To fight for freedom, to go anywhere you want, is the right of all mankind. But if we are not allowed to have the same rights as everybody, then we as a people are diminished. I have a dream that we, all of God's children, in my case the Great Spirit, believe that we have the right to do and be as one people. I have a dream that we will never remember these days. And I'm not going by the I have a dream completely. This is what I believe, that one day mankind will understand when the day we don't say the damn nigger every 5 seconds of the day. And I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about stupid black people don't get it yet. The day you understand not to say nigger, it's the day that it'll never be remembered. Now, I'm not saying that Mr. Johnson was doing that, but he was trying to hype something up for the WWE to get some interest. Playing on words with the I Love Had a Dream speech was not that bad, but honestly, even with that, which was a bit interesting, I really didn't feel like this was really hyped up that much the way he sounded that day. He's a great talker. He is. Dwayne's great. But I really felt there was something lacking. The I Have a Dream playoff wasn't too bad, but just the hyping it to the match just didn't feel like there was enough. And I agree with the Seg Daddy. It just felt a little flat. There just seemed to be something missing, and I didn't know what it was. Now, while we're going to CM Punk, which had 2 segments that night, the one with Paulie in the ring and the one in the skybox, where our great Rock was looking. He did pretty well. He stepped up again. The first segment, he stepped up again in his promo. Like I said before, he's going to be stepping up at least maybe 10% of the time. He's not going to be great all at one point. I'm not saying that Punk is an incredibly great talker at a Roddy Piper's level. He doesn't even come close. No one even comes close to a Roddy Piper, except for a few people. But Punk is a very good talker. And now that he's forced to actually up his game, he's upping it maybe about 10%. That's how I feel about it. So the first segment, he did very well. The second segment wasn't too bad. I almost felt like he was trying to get some heel heat, trying to be insulting. At least that's how I got it. Anyone else, give me a thought of he was trying to insult the I Had a Dream speech in a sense. Now, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but it doesn't mean it was strong enough. You really want to invoke someone that hates you, then sometimes you have to take it a couple of steps further. I'm not saying to tell CM Punk to call Dwayne Johnson or The Rock a fucking nigger. I'm not. But I do feel that Punk could have pushed it a little more harder, trying to go against the I Have a Dream speech. Just like The Rock could have pushed a little more, maybe if it had to be with the dream speech or something extra. It just felt like either one of them just was missing something in that particular moment. Seeing The Rock get his ass kicked by the Shield wasn't too bad. Now the question is, was that real blood or was that a blood pack in his mouth? Possibly could have been a blood pack, which would be more dramatic, which is a smart thing to do. You want people to think you got hurt, so there'll be more interest in seeing you the next week at the Royal Rumble to see if you're 100%, which was a wise move. So that wasn't too bad. Now, the Caitlyn and Alicia Fox match. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's okay. I have to check the space heater from time to time, but it is in a confined area. I don't want my place to blow into flames, ladies and gentlemen. Having the flu in a cold apartment sucks. But anyway, the Caitlyn match didn't really have anything to hype up to it. I mean, they showed Tamina in the back watching the match, but there's nothing there. Why is Tamina going after the championship now? I haven't seen enough from Tamina. Putting all the interest of why Tamina is going after it in the WWE.com exclusive to the, the YouTube channels isn't enough. Not everyone goes to YouTube to look at what's going on there. There's too much stuff on YouTube already from the WWE. Not everyone is going to be interested in watching it. You have to show her having an interest on your shows. If it's not SmackDown, it's got to be Raw. You got to give more of an interest. Let her have an interview saying that I'm going to honor my father by winning this damn Divas belt, and I'm going to bring Providence back to the belt. I would have liked to see that from Tamina. Not just seeing her in the back and then hearing Michael Cole say, oh, Tamina has been back for about a month after, finally back after a month after being injured for quite a while. Now she's interested in getting the belt. I don't want to hear from Michael Cole. I want to hear from Tamina. Michael Cole's not a diva unless he's hiding a pair of boobs. I don't see it. Well, actually, he does have boobs. So, look, I want to see more interest in the divas. I mean, the match wasn't great. No. I love Alicia Fox. But I said it like 5 months ago or 4 months ago. Now, no, 3 months ago. When Beth Phoenix left, 3 or 4 months ago, when Beth Phoenix left, I felt that one of the people is going to job next to Natalya is going to be Alicia Fox, because Alicia is going to go between face and heel. She's not going to have a character. They're going to flip her heel when they need her, and they're going to flip her face when they need her. And all she's done since Beth Phoenix left, as I said, is job, which is sad. I'm not saying she's a great wrestler, not even close. But you can't say that she doesn't have some ability. At least you can say she's been prominently featured more than most and can do something in the ring. I'd rather see most of these divas right now, since almost nothing being done with them. Let them go over to TNA and see what happens. Maybe TNA will have the brain power to realize now we're getting the divas, we can actually do something with our knockouts. Anyway, next will be okay, the Sheamus and Wade Barrett match for the Beat the Clock challenge. It felt average. I've seen Sheamus and Wade so many times, I feel bored with them. And I like Wade. And Sheamus isn't bad either. But we've seen their matches so much. We know the outcome. Sheamus kicks Wade's ass every time. And look what happened at the end. Having Dolph come out to try and keep himself from losing the Beat the Clock challenge, I just felt empty with it. I did. I felt it was empty. Boring. I'm not saying it was right for Wade to lose. It wasn't right for Wade to lose. You don't have that many people in the main title scene or even in mid-card that it can go to. Instead of calling people up from SmackDown, NXT, hell, you could have called a damn Uso, and I don't even want to say that. You could have gotten Uso to do the match. Hell, you could have gotten Justin Gabriel to do the match. Tyson Kidd could have done the match. Anyone against Wade. Anyone against Sheamus. But I just felt empty with it. Really. I did. Now, the match I didn't get bored with was the Antonio Cesaro and Orton match. That was a damn good match. And it was the first match of the night. Seeing Antonio and seeing Orton together, they actually got some good chemistry. Now, if they build Antonio properly and do something with Orton, if he has to stay face and Antonio has to be heel, or they flip it vice versa, if they're structured right, you can actually have one hell of a good feud because they can tell a good story in the ring. I was not bored with the match. Even with Orton winning, it wasn't that bad. Now, he won in 11 minutes and 36 seconds. And Dolph won a 40 seconds shorter than that. So it was like 10 minutes and something. We now know that Dolph is the one who's going to have the choice in the Royal Rumble. He goes in front of Vicky and pisses her off, kissing the one that we can't stand to hear anymore, AJ. And then we get the nice twist that, hey, you only got choice between number 1 and number 2. Door number 1 and door number 2. Which one you think he's going to pick? I don't know yet, but it's going to be interesting to see which one he's going to pick. Will he be contestant number 1 or 2? That isn't too bad. Now, what was really corny, and you know I was going to come to this, the corny bit of the night. Kane and Daniel Bryan graduating from Dr. Shelby's Anger Management Academy. Seeing Daniel Bryan's hair like this made me think he was like a damn Poindexter. If anyone doesn't know what a Poindexter means, look it up. I ain't going to tell you. But honestly, seeing that was funny, very corny, and it wasn't so bad. When Dr. Shelby is there, it makes it interesting. I'm very disappointed in WWE. Like I said before, over and over again, they had a golden opportunity with Dr. Shelby. I'm sure Dr. Shelby, in real life, if he's not an actor that they hired, he's actually an employee of the WWE. My guess is he's an actual employee of the WWE that can act and that they let do this job. I don't understand why didn't have him as a manager. I'm hoping after the Royal Rumble they'll finally come to their senses and see from the ratings and the segments of that show, from the ratings of that show, that when Dr. Shelby was there, the ratings went up because people like Dr. Shelby with these two. I don't get it. The hug segment was beyond corny, but you know what? It still got over. People liked it no matter how stupid it was. For the simple fact, these three are perfect together. You got the one who's the actual brains of the group. You got the brawn of the group. And you got the, what would you call Daniel Bryan? Because it's obvious Shelby is the brains, and Kane is the brawn, and Daniel Bryan, I guess, is the girl or would be the knucklehead of the group. But there's always one in there. And these two work so well. They play off each other just perfectly together. But if they're not willing to let Shelby be with them often, it just falls apart. And like I said in my previous reviews, if Rogue Scholars do not win the titles at Royal Rumble, if they don't, I am completely writing off Hell No completely. And no matter, and I will still laugh when they do something, but it's boring without Dr. Shelby. It is. Now, let me see if I'm forgetting anything here. I want to make sure I don't forget anything, ladies and gentlemen. When you're not feeling well, you have a tendency to blank out. And I've done that in my TNA review, and I'm not happy about that. Now, I wish also to say that the commentary wasn't too bad. They did what they could for Antonio. They did what they could for Brad Maddox. The King and Cole wasn't too bad tonight. It wasn't like energetic, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't. Now, let's see here. Alright, ADR versus Tensai, and I feel so sorry for Tensai. I'm not even putting this as a match I didn't like. I'm just putting it as a sad example. And when the WWE has something that could be hot, they don't push it, and they screw the pooch. Tensai could have been something good when it was with John Laurinaitis. He could have been John Laurinaitis' bodyguard or something. They could have pushed him into the title scene and then let him go flat. I feel so sorry for Albert, A-Train, Lord Tensai. I actually want him to go back to New Japan. Honestly, he's nothing but a glorified jobber now. A big ass jobber that can't take on ADR. ADR finished it in less than a minute or two. I didn't even bother to look at the match. I was bored with it. I don't blame this on ADR. I blame this on bad booking with WWE. Because Tensai should be in the main title scene. He should. But they treat him like shit. And I'm just disappointed in it. Now the final thing of the night is at first, I thought this was the biggest cluster F you could see when it came to the Cena addressing the WWE Universe. And I don't know why, and I agree with the select guy. Why don't you just call us fans? Who was the one that came up with that thing? Huh? Was it John Cena? When I saw with John Cena the 5 questions for the champ, he was the one that said the universe on one of his 5 questions for the champ. I don't know if Vince McMahon saw that segment and said, instead of calling these the WWE fans, maybe we should call them the universe. We should use that. It sounds good. Or was it Finkel who came up with WrestleMania? Maybe the Fink was the one that came up with this. I don't care. I'm bored with hearing the universe. I want to hear us being called fans again. At least TNA gets that right. But anyway, the segment was somewhat alright at first, and then it seems like he just went off character. No, it just went off base. There was nothing there that made it interesting. Him trying to play around so much in the very beginning, at first was a little funny, and then I just lost interest. And then when we saw Sheamus and Tony Pizarro, primetime players, and everybody else come out, I thought this was one hell of a big clusterfuck. I'm sorry. By the time they all went into the ring, I just felt overwhelmed with a sense of annoyance. I just didn't like it. It got on my nerves. But I had to review this, to really review it again as I'm getting my stuff together and get my notes so I can understand what I want to say to you guys. I had to think about this for a minute while I reviewed it. And I thought, you know what? This is different than what we've been getting for the last 9 months. I'm not saying it was a great segment with John Cena. It wasn't. But it still was effective enough to say, I'm going to be the one that's going to win the championship. Sheamus did his little bit. The ones I liked the most was Antonio Pizarro. 3MB wasn't too bad, even though they jobbed so much. And who else was the one I did not mind at all that I wasn't too upset about? Randy Orton. That wasn't too bad. Those are the ones I didn't mind too much. And seeing that fight in the ring and people being thrown out. And we have A-Rai. I saw A-Rai. They zoomed on him once. And I heard some people cheering and some people say, A-Rai, A-Rai. I heard somebody at least say it. So every time when Alex Riley comes out, people cheer. And I still don't understand why I don't get it. I think I may just do a video on this man. I think I'm going to do one on Alex Riley because I don't get why he's not pushed. Every time when people see him, they cheer for him. It makes no sense. But after seeing how they did the footage, how they zoomed in and out to try and make it as dramatic as possible, it was effective. We had to have something interesting to get people ramped up for this, for this Royal Rumble. It just, I admit at first, I hated it. It was a big cluster F. But then when I reviewed it and really thought about it, and being sick, it's kind of hard to think, it wasn't bad. Now, the one thing that I have left out is the one thing that you'll see in the title, and I've been considering what I'm going to call this. The true champion, the true people's champ, the real main eventer of, that might be good. The main eventer of the Hall of Fame. Or the true main eventer of the Hall of Fame. Which is not Mick Foley, and I'm not taking anything away from Mick Foley. I got mad as hell what they did to Mick Foley, and they tried to make up for it during the night, showing a Mick Foley segment, and it just went flat for me. I got mad. I didn't want to look at it. I hated it. I want to kick the butt of whoever came up with this, who treated Mick Foley so badly. But the person they said was the next inductee is the main eventer of the induction ceremony of, I'm so happy. I've said this before, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say this again. The first person I ever saw that I can remember as a small little boy back in the late 70s was not Hulk Hogan, was not Classy Freddie Blassie, was not Pat Patterson, was not Macho Man Randy Savage, was not, and I repeat, was not Iron Sheik or Sergeant Slaughter. It was Mr. Bob Backlund. He is my most vivid memory of when I saw wrestling. He was. I saw him when I was a little kid, and that's when he was still having the reign as WWF champion. I am beyond happy this man, I'll give it to you like this. I had 2 appointments to go today, and I was so happy. One, that I'm going to get some help because I got some problems right now. But the second one was I was thinking about Mr. Bob Backlund and what I wanted to say about this man. I love Mr. Bob Backlund. I do. And I already had a debate of the week between Bob Backlund and Kurt Angle. And I said Bob Backlund was the one who is more better. For the simple fact, he was in the beginning of the transition between WWF and WWF. He had a 6-year title reign. This man, who was considered pretty much mediocre by the promotion, I think it was the AWA. I can't remember which one, and please don't quote me. I don't remember which one it was. I believe it was one who was running the AWA back in the mid-70s, who told Vincent Kenny McMahon, this guy is a good wrestler, but he's boring and mediocre. And he said, give me this guy, and I will make a main eventer out of him. And I wish to say this. To become a main eventer, to be able to carry a championship belt, back then, you have to have something to be interesting. Bruno Sammartino had to have something that interested the crowd. That's why he held it for 1 decade. He's the longest running WWF champion in history. WWF second in line is Bob Backlund. Mr. Bob Backlund. The man earned his moniker. And I'm beyond happy that he finally decided to accept, or finally Vincent Kenny McMahon got off his ass and said, you know what, this guy is still over with the people. He's worked good for me. He gave me something when I needed it, when I was transitioning from being a regional little promotion to a conglomerate. I owe him. I'm going to give him what he deserves. And that's what he did. I'm beyond happy he has this. And I'm going to probably put in my title, the true main eventer of the Hall of Fame. And I'm not taking away anything from anybody there. But he is the flagship of the... Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. I want to see that. Oh, I want to see the Hall of Fame. I want to see him get up there. He deserves time. I hope they give it to him. But the main eventer of the Hall of Fame. That is the one I think I'll use. Or I'll use some other name. But whatever it is, That's what I believe. What is this show ranked? Showing about this? C minus. No, not C minus. I'll take that back. B. I'm giving this a B because several things were done. I'm sorry I said C minus. Excuse me. I'm sorry I said C minus. It's a B. Not a solid B, but it is a B. So I hope you like this Raw review. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a comment below at Zane's View. I'm sorry it's a little late. It's probably going to be into the morning. You're going to see this. Maybe Wednesday morning. It's been a long day for me. I've been on my feet for a while. So have a good night. And think of Mr. Bob Backlund as your true people's champ.